Okay, I'll try to speed this up a little bit. We had a tax bill 24, House Bill 2456, that would have been a $275 million tax increase on business. We were able to defeat that in the Senate. We talked about the RFID chips. Here's a list on the next page of all the fee bills that I voted no on, and I think there were more than this, but you can see how many there were where they were raising the fees instead of raising taxes, they're raising the fees. And it was on all kinds of things. And it was as high as a 20% increase, and with mining, which is quite 5 to 6 times higher, they're going to shut down. People that are panning for gold, they're just panning for gold for recreation. So that was quite a fight that we weren't able to help them on, but I did vote no on those bills. Another education bill asking this new board that's going to run education, AIB, to put into effect programs that make strategic investments to education. No on 2800. That is the bridge over the Columbia. Another big fight. The bridge. The bridge they have is 1/3 lower. It has no drawbridge. And what happened was when I saw that, and actually the way I realized it is that the CEO of Greenberry Industrial, who was right here, when you go shopping at Winco, you see the Greenberry office there. They have 50 engineers in Corvallis. At least they did at that time. But they're also up in the Columbia, and they're making these huge $1 million projects, like pieces of the Selwood Bridge. They were working on something for BART in San Francisco. Huge things. Huge, gigantic, $1 million projects. And they have to ship them by boat. Well, they're upriver at the bridge, and so they weren't going to be able to get out of it. And that might have been deliberate, according to Jason Pond, who's the CEO, who came to talk to me, but he said he thinks it's because they're working on North Shore drilling rigs there. Projects. And interestingly enough, Jason Pond has the old shipyard from World War II, where Rosie the Riveter put the boats together. And that's what they were closing off. So, it did pass our legislature. Washington said absolutely not, we won't do it, they want the light rail. The reason that it's lower is the light rail, and the feds won't grant any funding unless it has light rail. They're forcing states to put in light rail. We're saying, we don't want your drug traffic over here. We don't want, just because, your system is in debt, don't bring it over here. That's what they were saying. So anyway, that may come back, so watch out. Special session, we had 5 bills. It was all about PERS. The first one was the COLA reform. I voted no on that because the COLA reductions were thrown out in 2003 when we did the bill then. The Supreme Court said those were contractual even though they're not contracts. The problem is that this required a big revenue package to pass it. Basically what the Democrats said was, we won't pass it unless you give us a tax increase. And we're going, well, if you cut, if you deal with PERS, you'll have savings and you won't need a tax increase. You'll have more money. But they wouldn't deal with that, so you ended up with quite a big tax increase. I did vote for the PERS accountability, legislators out of PERS, felons, if they're PERS people, they can take some of their PERS pension money now to do restitution. Yes?
Okay. My question or my problem is, I'm a retired public employee. I put in all the years, and I put it into PERS. When I retired, I was told, face-to-face, by PERS personnel, you have 90 days to change this document. After 90 days, it is written in stone for the rest of your life. That's a quote. Within the year, they'd already nailed my PERS. They continued to go after my PERS. So why in the world would anybody want to enter into a contract or any kind of a document with the state of Oregon when they can't be trusted? They can't fulfill their obligation, whether people think PERS is too much or not. When we worked, we were told this is what it's going to be. And now all of a sudden, the state turns around and says, we can write anything in sand, but when we're dealing with you, it's in stone. And then they wonder why there's a Jefferson State movement in Southern Oregon and Northern California. Because people are getting tired of dealing with a group of individuals who can't be trusted.
Well, I agree with you. I think when the state puts in a retirement system, they've given their word and they need to stand by it because people are depending on it. I didn't like the COLAs in particular because I'm told about 70% of PERS retirees are under 35,000. So their answer to that was to give them supplementary payments in this bill they passed, and those come out of the PERS reserve fund, the rainy day fund.
And what I resented in reading into the paper on that was they were using education, because I was a teacher, and they were using education as their way of convincing people, if we don't do this, then look what's going to happen to education. And I thought, why don't they take time and look at this billions of dollar budget, and I'm sure they're going to find a lot of money that's not necessarily used in the proper way to support education.
Well, you're right. The problem is it's $15 trillion in debt now, and my concern is that we don't do something. And I'm PERS, and my kids are PERS. We won't have anything left. So one thing we did was we had an amendment we tried to get in this bill that said that instead of the guaranteed 8% return, which you can't get in the market anymore, that they had to take the this is complex. I'm going to have to read this probably. They had to take the market rate. You know, they get the money market match, but they're getting 400% because the state doubles it. So if we put in a double market rate, which is it's 3.5% right now, they're getting, the PERS board just acted and took it down to 7.75, so they're doubling that. So if we got rid of the second double, you would still get 200%. So that was our amendment, but it was rejected. So I don't know how you feel about the money match, but if they just adapted that, we would save a ton of money.
I guess my comment to that was, when you're hired on as a teacher, the school district can enter in, used to be, sorry, but can enter into contracts with you. They can do away with their money match. They don't have to do that.
That's right.
And I have no problem with that, because as a school teacher then, you realize that when I sign this contract, I'm not going to have a money match. But to turn around and nail people who already signed a contract or already retired and say, no, we're going to take some of your money. The cost of living, it's nowhere near a cost of living. I lose money income-wise for my standard of living every year, being a retiree. I will never keep up with that, including in Social Security or PERS. So calling it cost of living is kind of a misnomer. I mean, it's
I
not.
think so too, because we are going into an inflationary period. Right. And just to maintain what you have is going to be difficult. Well, these are hard questions. I did vote no on the COLA. On the tax increase package, you've probably heard a lot about this. It's the big paragraph here, but there's a whole lot in there you're not hearing. 3601. Voted no on this. It is a good small business tax cut for S corporations. You have to have at least one employee. And for exporters in particular, if you export products, you're going to be at the 2.5 tax rate. If you have this IC disc thing, and that is it's the last tax shelter for exporters, I'm told. So that won't be everybody, but that will help our exports. They're expanding their income tax exemption. That was for the Democrats. There'll be a corporate tax increase for C corporations.